Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Um, I just switched monitors again. I've got a, what is it, 37-inch monitor, but Darlene wanted that one. I thought I was going to, I switched things around. The monitors, I was asking her first, of course. And I had I think it's 37-inch. Um, yeah, and I put it in the living room there and set it all up, and I had to, got it all set up, and then I knew it was going to be. Then she called me in several times. Can you make the, the type, make the text, bigger, bigger, bigger. She wants it, And then things started getting like destroyed. But she was fine with it, things that looked not exact, and uh, so I ended up, that's the one she wanted, and that's the one I wanted too. Although it was my idea to give it to her, and I gave it to her several times when things came up, and then took it back a few times. But anyway, so I've got the LG 2560 by 1440 right now hooked up. I think I've got, um, let's see, let's go here, and let's see what I've got in the Amazon wish list. Let's see, Amazon, where are you? Here you are. Now in the wish list, okay, I don't think, okay, this is the monitor I'd like to have now, this $379 one. This one, I have this already. The mouse pad, the big one, I really don't need that, but I don't know what else I did see, a mouse pad that had the keys, the function key and whatever keys that you can punch. It was a whole thing. Wasn't very much money. Well, this one's 1780, so I think it'd be the same price. I would, I would like to have, but I can't afford it. A Dell monitor that, because I'm, with what I've got, which was $120. It's just, it's okay. It has Windows 11 on it, and I guess maybe Windows 12 will be there. And, but at, an $849, that's out of my price range. I should go and find the one in case somebody wants to. Yeah, let me go to. Well, I guess I can clip on. No, don't think I can. Yeah, I think if this takes me to the. Let's see, are we moving? Yeah, I think no. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So. Okay, this is just the, dark one. Which would be, it wouldn't be fine. I'd like to have something. Okay, here you go. This one is only, I can afford it. If I really want it, I can afford it. That's something that's in my price range. Yeah, I should get that. Control X. I never remember these things. I have trouble remembering like the paste and copy even. I mean, if I'm using the control, if I'm doing it that way, So, I should have this. I'm going to put that in my wish, or no, I'm going to put that in the tray. I'm going to put it in the cart. That's it. And so that's in the cart now. I'm going to go back to the wish list again. And I'm going to, okay, I don't have any, okay, that's all I have in there. Let's see. Right now I moved tables around in my room, and I don't think I need, but this is a good price, and I have 2 of these, and they were really, if you're like me and you're old, or you have back problems like I do, and shoulder pops, this kind of stuff. If I'm correct that this is the one, with my problem, anyway, the way it's made, is you take the desktop, turn it, the top down, and then you just put these legs in the positions, and, screw them in, and that's it. So that's a good, I am going to get, by the way, this, let's see here, where is it? Are you coming? Quick view. Okay, here it is. I am going to get this. I've got one that is, wireless antenna that's about half the price of this. But this is, and right now I don't need it, but I could need it at any minute, So, I think that might already be in the cart. Add to cart. Okay, so I can take this off because I'm going to purchase it myself. Go up here and delete this. It would help me to have this other desk, but I don't, really have to have it. Not at this time, I guess, and I can delete that. I'm going to leave this on here, the $850 Dell computer, in case one of you people hit the jackpot, buying a lottery ticket or something. And I've got, I don't know how many, I got monitors sitting on the floor. Okay, I can't see very well with my eyes right now. I'm going to have cataract surgery in March, both eyes. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3 monitors over there, and I can't see. I think there's one over there or something, so. But I was looking around, what could I really use that would help with my eyesight, and also, make, and this is the one, I looked at a bunch of them, and this is the one I looked at. 27-inch IPS 4K, ultra-fine HDR 400 USB-C, that is nice. 3840 by 2160, etc., etc. But I'm not sure I'll be able to buy that unless, let's see here. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's hidden behind a microphone. Unless, see, I'm not getting any money from Amazon. No money from Amazon also, really. Maybe, I think one year I got $100. That's for the entire year. Other than that, I'm not making any money off of Amazon. Um, uh, but I do qualify, and I'm making money from finally. Okay, and I started when they started. 20, what was it? 2005, was that it when they started? That's when I started, and I just now moved into the area where I am actually making some money. They actually owe me, I think, about $300 now, maybe more. But they have a whole checklist of things you have to go through, of course, name, address, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's fine. And then other things that they need and that they insist on. And there's one item there that they want me to give them the information. I'm willing to give it to them. I've tried to give it to them. And no, they don't like it. One thing that I think it looks like that they also want is me to put the code in, like I did for years. I did a bunch of stuff for years. When I had the WordPress site, and I had that for years, and that really worked out well for me, except nobody was clicking on any advertisements or donations or there might have been a donation because there's some people out there that are really nice that, have been like following me, but I don't remember anything, special about that. But anyway, I did designed, of course, I used WordPress software, and I got a lot of traffic, and I had actually a lot of influence. I've talked about this before. There were things that I talked about on the WordPress site, and there were people, and I'm sure there still are, but since when I'm on YouTube, I don't see those kind of people. There's people who work for every, corporation that, that everything. And when I would talk about something like, a problem or something like, we moved and the place we moved right away, of course, I got signed up for it, and a guy came out who didn't speak any English, but luckily I knew that some people, in the apartment across from us or whatever, and I got that, the only words he knew in English, I think, were TV and internet or something like that. The only two words he knew. And it was, I've talked about it, so I won't talk about it again. It was a disaster with this guy. So, but anyway, I made a WordPress post about it, like I do, like you see here. You probably are like going, why is he talking about, such and such? It's because what I talk about my life. I talked about, the hospitals that I worked at. I talked about, but no patient information, by the way, and people responded, like with the internet when we moved. That would be my grandson and my son and grandson. When we moved, when there was a problem getting it, I just made a post, and immediately one of these people working for the thing, they found it by doing the searches that they do. However, their thing is set up, and they called on a Sunday, and or contacted me, with an email. But then I gave the phone number. I forget how exactly it went, but on Sunday that day, a lady called me and she said, we don't normally do the installs on Sunday, but we've got a supervisor will be coming with a couple other people to, and we hope you're satisfied or whatever. Boom. That kind of stuff happened repeatedly, and that was pretty good. But since I'm doing YouTube, and since I did away with WordPress, And the reason I did away with, there was things that came up in Brazil, and for some reason, I don't read Portuguese, but all of a sudden, boom, my WordPress people, coming like crazy, But most of them, almost all of them, would click, and they'd be gone. Yeah, I couldn't even, if I were them, I wouldn't even be able to comprehend what was on the screen, but they knew what they were looking for, whatever. But eventually, that copy that was, it was something that was printed in a newspaper down there. I'm not sure if somebody did a column or something and said, hey, this guy is, one of the inventors of the internet, or I'm not sure what might have been said, but that's what they were coming for. And nobody ever clicked on the ads. I had little ads, like Amazon or whatever, around the thing. And people had totally just tuned out, not just me, but tuned out all those things. They didn't see those things. Now, I think most of the most of the sites you see, I'm pretty sure it's CNN, all these sites, they're using, WordPress, or maybe it's called a little something different. Maybe they call it a little different, but it's still WordPress. Except, in the case of CNN and Apple and all that, I don't want to mention just, but they have a staff of people who are, using the WordPress commands and that kind of stuff, and creating it. And then of course people are, because I do it, sometimes, go to CNN and decide to, order something that they have a list of or something. So I thought about going, anyway, it just didn't, and to show you how it was, I had a small ad there that somebody could click on. Now, you didn't have to click on that. It didn't give you any, you didn't get any benefits other than whatever if you'd gone, to their site or something. But, and of course I put, WordPress is very easy to, it's easy to use, but there's things I'm not, well, I would recommend, it depends on what you're doing. I would recommend it, but I did it for years. But nobody, I don't think, ever, and I got some donations back then, because that was before a lot of this was going on. It was before, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Oh, okay, so, I had my page all set up, and I spent, I don't know how much money for themes, like, you can, if you sign up with a internet service provider or whatever, you pay them, and then they have themes, that are available, hundreds, if not thousands of them, and then you can also look around and find some that are, created by somebody. I paid quite a bit of money just for themes, and I really loved some of them, and I forget which one I ended up using the most. It was really neat, and I think that's the one. So, hundreds or thousands sometimes coming to my site every day. Now sometimes it dropped way down. It was, more when something. I'll tell you about one if I don't forget it. But anyway, one of my fans or whatever said, Jim, your advertisement there for, I don't know, XYZ or something, it's upside down or backwards, or I forget what it was exactly. Now, I would have caught it if it was, but it was still an error, I think it was a spelling error that I put in there, and it was, and I looked at that thing all day long, because I'd pop the page up and see this and move something around and all that kind of stuff. But there was a spelling error there that I had looked at, 1,000 times, maybe more. And I just never saw it till this person said, oh, Jim, by the way, there's a spelling error there. And then I corrected it immediately. Now the reason I know, well, there's several reasons, but the reason I know that people pop in and pop out, there was something on, probably CNN's page, where, what was it? Come on, it'll pop in my head. Okay, yeah, I think it was on CNN, their site. And it said that a woman, a mother, apparently a mother without a husband or something, I think, her son was refusing, and I think he was like 10 or 12 or something. He wasn't a teenager rebelling against his mother or something. She asked him to do some stuff, and, he just, no, I'm not going to do it. So she said, well, you're going to go, get outside and rake up those leaves or whatever. And now as I'm reading this, I thought, well, what's wrong with, because it was obvious that the mother had done something wrong. And now, was he 10 or he was in, and, there's a reason, so I did said that she was in trouble, she'd been reported or something or other, and and so I did a thing, about that, and then I did a thing like a few hours later or the next day. I think I did it at the same time, and I said, she made her son go out, and rake leaves, okay, and what's wrong? What's wrong with that? He should have, she was just, and I said, I talked about it a little bit. So the next day, I think the story was updated. I didn't update it, but I saw, it was updated. And they said, I guess a lot of people probably said, what's wrong? The mother, they probably said, well, she should spank his ass, or I don't remember them saying that, but, And then it came out like the next day or later in the day on, I think, CNN. And it said that she had sent him outside naked. And then I did a new thing saying, oh, wow. And I think the police were involved, And I said, okay, the mother was I'm sure was under, I forget exactly what I said. I'm kind of having what I have said, and I know it's what I said. She made a mistake. She was, upset. She was mad at him or whatever, and she shouldn't have done that. That's not smart. That could lead to problems. And I said, but they should cut her. This shouldn't be a criminal matter. They should just say, hey, don't do this anymore. Also, I forget what the temperature was. It was, it wasn't 30 degrees. It wasn't freezing, And I forget what the temp. And I said, and that's, you shouldn't send him out even with clothes, to go out and whatever. Well, anyway, so I had posted these two things, My site went, it must have been every male predator must have spotted that story and saw whatever he was. And I'm sure he was, I don't even think he was like 13. I think it was something, maybe he was 12, 11, 10 or something like that. Anyway, I actually, and okay, so that, I posted a thing, again after that saying, well, she sure shouldn't have sent him out, but nothing should have happened to her. She shouldn't, have her kid taken away or anything. And there wasn't any talk about that. And, so I finally took those things down, the stories down, which I don't normally do. I took them down because my computer was going bing, 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 and people were coming. No one, I didn't intend that to change that word to coming to something else, and people were coming, and they would. I don't know how they could even read it so fast, or what they because it was Bing. They popped in. Well, I think they were. Okay, that's what I decided back then. They were looking for a picture of a, let's say, 12-year-old boy naked, and that's that's what it was, because they would bing, 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 in and out. I couldn't even, if I were looking at something, it wouldn't even register with me, that popping in and out. And eventually, of course, I took the stories down, and the people kept coming like that, boom, 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 boom. Now I couldn't tell what they were looking for because the search or something didn't, they would have had to come to the thing and then clicked on it or something. But eventually, and I was getting a lot of traffic, and I changed the domain name. I went with a different domain name that I had, just to stop those people from coming, because it was aggravating. So I guess I shouldn't have told you this. There'll be somebody out there, oh, I want to get rich and make, but see, nobody, remember what I also said, there wasn't anybody looking at my advertisements, the little blocks, little thing. They weren't looking at them, they weren't reading them, they didn't have time, they were looking for a picture of a naked boy. And anyway, eventually I went with, well, I was going with I didn't have just one thing going, I had, so then I eventually, I guess, ended up, going with YouTube. I wish I'd have stayed with WordPress and gone with, YouTube, and I could have tied them together and that kind of stuff. But the only thing is, if you see using something like WordPress, they're all the domain companies that give you domain names and do all this kind of stuff. They all have a word, and they want you to sign up for it, and they'll offer you, it'll be a low price. And I used a whole bunch of different domain users or domain names, and they offer you but if you start getting, it may be, well, I've seen $4 a month, but then it increases. There's things that you don't read. You better read all the details about it. But then if you get too many hits, they will charge you more. You start being successful, and you're paying, maybe you're paying $150 a month instead of $10 a month or something. And there's how much hard disk space that you use, how many clicks you get, all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking the other day, because I liked playing with that, making the menus just exactly how I wanted, what you could do, making those. And then I like that thing too of people actually, companies and corporations or whatever, and I'm sure they're probably still doing that. Probably has increased, and that was nice, because there was several times when I had that WordPress site. Well, I told you about the one with having the, on a Sunday, they sent out not just a guy, or two guys. I think there was at least two guys and the supervisor. Maybe there was three. What's interesting about that is, well, the whole thing was kind of interesting. There was several things that were interesting. One was, this was a nice, right next to a golf course. And I never played golf. Well, I did play golf. But I didn't play, and we were with some guys, and we hit the ball around. I think that's when I was really young. There was a golf course there and everything like that. And this guy that they sent out, like I told you, couldn't speak English. And he couldn't find, and I think his partner, I guess he's supposed to be working with, maybe he was new. And his partner was, I'm looking at the time here. His, I think, partner was calling him. I don't speak Spanish, but where are you? What are you doing there? All you have to do is just turn it on, plug it in, or whatever. And the guy didn't. He ended up not doing it on purpose, but accidentally. He left, and he said, "Okay, you've got internet now, and that, and then also you've got the television, or whatever." And so then he left, and then I flipped on the thing, and what's this channel? What is this? That's not on the list, And eventually I went out. Well, that was after. No, okay, when the guys came out, because of they came out and they said, "Oh, this guy, he hooked you into." There was a box right out by the curb. Now, all these other boxes were, next to your apartment or whatever, where the cable came through, or whatever. But he had parked. He had the guy who didn't know what I was doing, and if he was that new, they should have had somebody with him, But anyway, he tied into the box, and it was another internet provider. It was one of the big ones, and I guess in Miami, they had decided they were going to wire with cable, every place in Miami, and they started doing that. And then they knew that what was coming. They knew wireless was coming, and all this other stuff was coming. And then it was like, and I don't know what the numbers are. It was like, well, this will cost us, $3 billion or something. I don't know how much, but a lot of money. And so they decided, no, we'll just wait until you can transmit it wirelessly, and the things that have come up. And so that box wasn't being used. None of the boxes were being used. I'm not sure if anybody had already signed up for it, and if they kept them, or if they just, I'm sure they didn't say, okay, well, we're turning it off, you're not getting it. But he had tied into this box out there. And anyway, the guy who came out, the supervisor with the crew, he looked for the box for our apartment, and he couldn't find it. And but what they did is they dug a trench, under the ground. Dug a trench underneath or maybe not underneath the sidewalk. Anyway, they brought it for the other building, with apartments in it, to this, building that had apartments in it. They cut a channel and hooked it up that way, and it worked fine. Okay, what was I going to? Oh, okay. So I worked hospital security in Kansas City, Missouri. I worked at different hospitals, worked security. One hospital I worked at, there was 25 security officers, and I was one of those. And anyway, there was a real nice guy that worked there, security officer, really nice. Couldn't be a nicer guy than that guy. And so anyway, I was hired in, and I'd just been hired in, and a couple of days later, I saw the security officer was Max, and I saw Max, but not in uniform. So anyway, I waved or whatever, went in the security office. I punched in to go to work or whatever, and I said, "What's Max doing out there?" Not, he said, "Nope, that's his identical. They're twins, identical twins." And I, oh wow. And his brother, the identical twin, was really nice, super nice guy. I didn't know him as well, as Max. Okay, so when I finally quit working, and that was, I think, what is it? Was it 28? Not 28 years, no, because I only worked altogether for the hospitals 30 years. Must have been 18. I can't remember that. That's something I always knew, but my mind is going, I think. Wonderful. Uh, him and his brother came down to Miami, and that's where I was working then, hospital security. And they came down, and there's Bayside Mall. If you've been to Miami, that's one of. It's right next to the ocean. It's a shopping mall. But then they have, boats that they pull up there, and you can get rides and all that kind of stuff, all kind of stuff. So I forget, it must have been maybe, I'm guessing 4 p.m. We were talking, sitting out there by the ocean talking, and the mall then closed, I think, at 8 or something like that. And then, now I didn't have a car down there, so, but man, the rail service is great the way it's designed there in Miami, and I'm sure it's that way in a lot of other cities. Not in Kansas City, Missouri, and not really in Fort Worth either. Um, but so so anyway, Max and I and his brother, we were talking and all that kind of stuff. And so the mall I think closed at 8. So I said, well, I better get on. I think it was a little bit later than no. Well, I think they closed. They closed at 8. I think we might have sat there and talked longer, maybe 9 or something. It sounded more like it would be 9. And I said, well, I better get on home. And they had rented a car, And they said, Jim, we'll drive. And I said, no, I can catch the rail right out there. It takes me right to the, station, and there's a bus waiting there. Take me right home. I'm fine. Thank you, Max. So then I got to the metro station where the trains, and the trains were shut down. They shut down at like 9 o'clock or something like that. And then it goes to hell because they have a limited number of buses, and they go to each of these stations, where the train comes in, but the trains aren't running, so it shows up, and so that I had to wait for that bus to show up, and I think I got out to the station where I knew the bus. I knew there wouldn't be no train; it would be the bus or the buses there. I got there, and the buses shut down when I got there, and I started on this for some reason. Now I forgot why I started this story. Oh, I remember now. Oh, remind me. The cable box. Remind me. So I got there, and there were a bunch of people there, and what they were doing was they were laying down on the park benches or whatever, and waiting for 6 hours. I forget how long, because I measured how far I went and how long it took me to get there. Anyway, I waited for the bus. Okay, well, this is a story. Right at that time, Miami, Florida was having armed robberies of armored trucks. I mean, and there were some shootouts, with shooting of guards and stuff. And I saw, they went to 3 or 4 in the truck. I'm not sure how many stayed in, and then I don't know how many they had of those, but they had contract guard company supplying a car with 2 or 3 people in the car, and they were armed with assault rifles or shotguns and stuff. I mean, the reason I know that was, so I'm at the station, and it's like, oh God, it's going to be, a bus is not going to come until like 7 in the morning, or, well, yeah, would it be people having to get ready for work, till 7, 8, or 8 in the morning, something like that. And Anyway, I was looking around, where's a bench that I can sleep on, and then around behind this station place where the train comes in, you get on the train and they didn't have any eating places there, I don't think, so I go around to the back, and that happened to be, I realized then, and I don't know how many stations they had, 12, 15, 20, I don't know how many, but this happened to be a place where they collected the money that had been from all these, stations. So I'm guessing that, at each of these stations at a certain time they bag up their money or something, and then it dropped off at this place, and there's nobody there normally. Well, maybe they did. Maybe on the normal circumstances, maybe they'd have 2 security people or something. But anyway, I go around behind this place, and there was a couple unmarked vehicles. There was a truck or whatever, a big truck, and it was like they had assault rifles. They had all kinds of stuff, and there was like, I don't know, 15 of them or something there. And I wanted so bad. I was doing videos then, and I wanted so bad to make a video of these guys there, and because there was one guy really young, he had an assault rifle, and he was moving around like crazy, and I thought, God, I hope he keeps his finger on. He was a young guy. That security company probably hired him in and said, oh, have you ever shot a, or something? I don't know, but I was afraid to take my cell phone out. I didn't, because they were so, So anyway, I thought, I'm not going to be sleeping here, So I started walking home, and I forget how many, I think it's available on here someplace. I walked home, and it took hours and hours to get home. And when I was about 5 blocks from the apartment, and by the way, this apartment, we were right on the street, when you step out the door, and there was a bus stop right there. But I was a few blocks away, and here comes the bus. I mean, I should have just stayed there, and at least I wouldn't have had to walk all that distance. But as I was walking, I thought, I'm really tired. I really need to go to bed, because I couldn't, I was walking. I couldn't sleep. And so I cut across the grass. Normally I'd have gone down the sidewalk and turned into, it wasn't a gated community, I'd have come down and I'd have gone, that way. But I'm just going to cut across the grass, and which is, I mean, that's okay, but I'm cutting across it, And then a couple apartments down from where I lived, they had, well, like we have here, a half of a wooden fence or something around your apartment, so you can sit out there, and drink your beers or whatever. And so I'm walking by, and so then I looked over into the apartment, not into the apartment, but into their thing. There was the thing. This apartment was like 3 or 4 apartments from where we were living, and there was the cable box. So, and that's the only one apparently in that entire complex. Now you would think that, I don't know, you would think that like they said, the supervisor came out, and then said, dig a thing across and hook these people up, And so that's what I wanted to tell you about that. I don't remember now, but someplace there it tells you, because I figured it up, how long I walked, how many miles I walked, and 2, I walked I wasn't thinking, there was what's that place that makes breakfast so good, what's the name of that place, open 24 hours a day, and whatever. If I'd have been a few streets over walking, halfway there I would have come to that place, and I would have had a nice, I'm not really a fan of sausage or biscuits, but anyway. So that's my story. Um, that's my story. Okay, thanks for walking. Thanks for watching. It's 3:33 a.m. and I'm going to drink a little of this Coke. I'm going to get something to eat too, a little something in my stomach, and then I'm going to go to bed. You might check out my wish list. What else I should tell you to check out? No, I did not want to click on that. Well, anyway, here's stuff that I've ordered. This stuff for my feet and my legs. You know, they're okay. They're in bad shape. They have been in bad shape. I'll tell you something, by the way. In this, I'm not one of these people. I'm not a vegetarian, but my oldest daughter is, and her husband. They're vegetarians. Anyway, my feet and legs are now, and they have been for years. I mean, it's a wonder they haven't had to amputate them or something. So much to look forward to. So I tried a thing that you put your feet on, and it does that to get blood circulation going there, and stuff like that. And so that's why I ordered these, 2 items. By the way, these magnets, and you probably don't care, but one of these days I'll figure out which one it was. I've had magnets for a long time, using them for stuff like this. And man, these magnets that I've had for a long time. Well, I don't want to take one down. It's hard to get off. I mean, so there was a couple other different sizes, and those were, I got them from Amazon. But I just placed an order again. Okay, so this is the order I placed. 3 different sizes of whatever. Now the big ones, super powerful. I have trouble, and if they get together, click together, man, damn, getting them apart, And then there's some smaller ones, and well, the ones that are up. Oh, you can't see this. Okay. These here, they're okay. Here. These are kind of chubby, much thicker, but whoops. Okay. Now here's one of the old, I ordered years ago or whatever, got those in. These are sort of better be careful. You never get your fingers between them. I mean, and the small ones, there's a bunch of really small ones, 60 of them, in fact, I ordered. Not very much money. So, anyway, oh, you're already back at me. So, if you can click on something from the gift thing, or if you can make a donation, or whatever, help out however you can. One of these days, that's the reason I thought of WordPress. Because I think because it's Google AdSense, and of course Google owns, but they want me to put in 2 or 3 lines of things when you're doing. I did a little bit of, writing some code, a little bit. And there's a thing, where you on your, like a WordPress site or whatever, you put this information in, and when a computer person comes there with their browser, it gathers some information and helps them do stuff. And what Google Advent wants me to do is put 2 or 3 lines in there which you would not see. You would come to the site. Now, it's not anything bad or anything, it's just the way computer software and stuff works. But there's no place for me to put that in there. Now, on WordPress, I knew exactly where to put that kind of information, in order to do certain things, make, color of screen or do whatever. And that's what Google AdSense wants me to do, and they've wanted me to do it now for several months, and I can't do it. I can't put that, There was several other items that they wanted, my bank account information, my, whatever, 2 or 3 things like that, naturally, that they want, your email address and all this kind of stuff. But this one of putting, Advent tells me, it says, click, you got that, click, okay, you did this, click, you did this, but you have to do this, and there's no way for me to, to do that. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get, and I think Amazon, YouTube, I think YouTube owes me about $300 and maybe more at this point, which for me, that's a lot of money. A lot of people that have, YouTube sites or whatever, they have, they're taking enough money that they can hire, 3, 4, 5 people or more to do, to take the pictures, to write the text, and do all that kind of stuff. It's just me here by myself, alone. Well, ex-wife and grown son. And the grown son just recently it's a new thing with him now. He goes through stages, and now his thing is playing music loud, and it'll be something else tomorrow. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Give a thumbs up. I'm not sure that does any good. YouTubers say yes, that it does. I don't know if it does or not. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.